Hey, Mixed Parents. Well, thanks for tuning in. We're glad that you're taking the time to listen. We want to share with you a little bit about some upcoming series stuff here at The Mix. So with that, I want to introduce the series we're going to be doing for the next 3 weeks, starting next week, January 11. It's called New Friend Request. And
it's a Facebook
reference.
thing,
Facebook reference. So, which is totally perfect because I feel like more and more I hear students talking about Facebook and social media and all that. And as I've been thinking about the series, it's funny. Middle school is like it's its own small social network.
Yeah,
it's its own small social network, and everything that happens on Facebook and Twitter, all that stuff happens in middle school. So we really want to take the opportunity to speak truth and God's love and His truth into the way we do friendships in middle school. And I want to give you an overview of what each week looks like real quick. First week I'm going to be teaching about how friends have the ability and lots of power to influence us. And that could be in good ways and not so good ways. And we want to encourage students to surround themselves with friends who are going to be helping them in their relationship with the Lord. I'm going to be teaching from a passage in 1 Samuel, talking about how Solomon, this great, wise, rich king, who really had God's promise, he had the Lord's blessing, and surrounded himself with people who influenced him to turn his heart away from the Lord. And the message we want students to hear with that is that don't let a bad friend get in the way of your relationship with the Lord. Surround yourself with people who are going strong after a relationship with Jesus. And those people are going to help you. And yeah.
Cool. And week 2, I'm going to be talking about having spiritual friendships. So obviously, most kids would say that they have friends, and many of them would say they have Christian friends, maybe even some buddies that they come to church with. But I want to challenge them to take some of their current friendships or even look for new ones and have spiritual friends. Mm-hmm. So that idea that the friends that they maybe are playing basketball with or hanging out on the weekend, in those friendships there's kind of a way the norms of that group, what they do, what they talk about, what kind of pranks they pull on each other, what TV shows they watch. Yeah. But one of the things that sometimes isn't normal in that is to use those relationships to talk about God or to pray for each other, or to encourage each other, or to even read the Bible together. And so I want to encourage them to create new normals in order to find spiritual friends. And so begin, and somebody will always have to go first and say, hey, I want to move this friendship to the next level and become spiritual friends. And so I'm excited to talk about that.
Yeah. And then week 3, Steph and I are going to be teaching kind of together one of the hardest things about friendships, and I think especially in middle school, it's probably that reason why all of us think back to middle school. And I know sometimes I get that knot in my stomach about friend situations that I had to deal with where, something happens and that the next day you have to go into that school and you have to face that situation, or you have to something you're not looking forward to. And we know that with friendship comes conflict, and we want to be honest about that. We want to recognize it and even give students an opportunity to respond to that conflict and deal with it in a way that God wants us to deal with it with love, kindness, care, and just be honest. Give students a chance to confess and maybe even allow God to heal and mend some broken relationships. So Steph's going to lead us through a response time where we're going to be able to confess, pray for each other. And yeah, we want the Mix to be a community where people are welcome and it's a fun, safe place. And I believe that that starts with creating a good community of friendships. And so hopefully, our prayer is that we see God change the attitudes and minds of students and the way they view others and the way they treat others. And they can get a good picture of that through what it looks like to be a good friend, a spiritual friend, a friend that forgives, a friend that, is going to help you in your relationship with the Lord.
Matt, what's your best friendship cliche tagline?
My favorite friendship cliche: you show me your friends, I'll show you your future.
Boom. And it really is true that it's so huge. Who we hang out with really shapes. And so I think that's why God is in and for and in these friendships. And we know that you guys as parents are deeply involved with and deeply care and are praying for that your sons and daughters would have the right kind of friends. And that's what we're going to talk to them about. And also, as Matt said, talk about being the right kind of friend and how do we know, how do we influence our friends for Christ, but not be so closely, as the Bible would say, yoked with them, that we're in the midst of the same things that they are. And so, any last words, Matt?
Last words. We talk about friends, we talk about relationships, and we know how powerful those are. And in a lot of ways, we know what kind of positive influence they can have in a person's life. But even beyond just friendships, I mean, I feel like students have heard that message before, that having good friends is a good thing. That's a no-brainer. But we want them to hear the underlying tones of God wants students' hearts. Yep. He wants their lives, and the role that friends play in that is huge. A friend can help you go on that path and stay on that path of giving your heart and your life for the Lord. And that we're excited to see students continue on that path.
Well, and if God cares so much about it, then we can ask Him to move and to help and to protect those friendships. So, all right.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening. If you made it all the way through, congratulations. Well done. Craig and I are pretty long-winded, but we're okay with that. So
somebody's here.
We need it. All right. Peace.